Hello, the topic of this screencast is strategy-based instruction for multilingual learners of additional languages. First, I'm going to highlight the relevance of strategies in language learning, and then I will discuss the options in strategy-based instruction provided by the teacher. Effective use of learning strategies is an important element in successful learning of languages. As was highlighted in the previous screencasts, experience in the use of learning strategies and greater flexibility in their selection are among the factors contributing to the fact that multilingual learners are generally better learners of new languages than monolingual or bilingual learners. It was also demonstrated in the previous screencast that a range of specific metacognitive, cognitive, social, and affective strategies can help multilingual learners make use of their rich linguistic repertoires. The problem is, however, that despite their prior experience with language learning, multilingual learners may not be fully aware of how important their linguistic repertoires are and what strategies they can use for even more effective learning of additional languages. Therefore, we can argue that making students aware of this great potential that they have at their disposal and guiding them in the use of strategies are among the responsibilities of foreign language teachers. In other words, the teacher can conduct strategy-based instruction to help learners make better use of their learning potential. Now, let's define what learning strategy instruction is. Well, it is a learner-focused approach that emphasizes the integration of language learning strategies in the language classroom with the goal of creating greater learner autonomy and increased proficiency. It helps students to become more aware of available strategies, to understand how to organize and use strategies systematically and effectively, and to learn when and how to transfer strategies to new contexts. How can this be done in practical terms? Researchers suggest that there are certain steps to follow when conducting this kind of instruction. Step 1 is the diagnosis. It consists in the identification and assessment of students' learning strategies through observation, interviews, questionnaires, etc. At this step, the teacher can get to know what languages the multilingual students know and whether they use learning strategies based on their linguistic repertoires. Step 2 is awareness raising. At this stage, the teacher can make the students aware of the concept of learning strategies and their types. This can be done in different ways, for example, through a mini lecture in the classroom. But of course, it can also be done through a range of learner-centered activities, such as class discussions, stimulating awareness about the benefits of strategy use by multilinguals. It seems important that at this stage the students fully realize that their multilingualism is an important asset and it can be utilized in the learning of new languages. Step 3 is instruction. Here, the teacher provides direct and informed instruction on the different strategies available to multilinguals. This can be done through explanation and modeling. In a typical classroom strategy training situation, the teachers describe and give examples of potentially useful strategies. For example, mental translation tasks, or conducting comparisons of grammatical structures or lexical phrases for achieving specific learning tasks can be explained and modeled. Such instruction can be done as practical workshops in class when learners actually perform hand-on activities with the use of certain strategies. Step 4 is practice. In this step, students experiment with various strategies and they learn by actually performing the strategies on their own in a number of specific tasks in which the students are actually learning the course content. It is suggested that the students are explicitly focusing on particular strategies. In order to do this, they carefully plan the strategies that they are going to use. They recall what strategies they're using during the activity. And finally, they sum up their use of strategies at the end. The final step, evaluation, aims to help students evaluate their own strategy use, but also the effectiveness of the overall strategy training. Self-reflection is a very important component of this step. Peer sessions in which learners compare their experience and their opinions will also be very useful here. This was the last screencast in the series of the 3 recordings devoted to the topic of language learning strategies for multilingual learners. Thank you very much for your attention.